Hello, friends. So, continuing with this last chapter, epidemiology in subject health education and community pharmacy. The next important topic is nosocomial infections. Now, this is also very important part, and definite question is there from this part also, isn't it? Descriptive question. And regarding nosocomial infections, we must know the meaning of this, then what are the causes, which type of infections are there, how they are spread, and how they can be prevented and controlled, isn't it? So one by one we will cover this. The other name for nosocomial infections is hospital acquired infection, isn't it? Hospital acquired. Now, as the word indicate that these infections are spread when the person gets admitted in hospital. Therefore, they are called hospital acquired infection, isn't it? You should also remember the other name for these type of infections, that is nosocomial infections, isn't it? Now this word nosocomial, that comes from Greek word, that is nosus, meaning disease, and comion, meaning to take care of. So when the person gets diseased and when he is admitted in hospital for proper care, there are chances that there are some factors which can initiate these type of infections or other infections in the patient who is admitted in hospital. And when those patients are suffering from any other infection, so those infections are called nosocomial infections or hospital acquired infections, isn't it? Again, I repeat that these infections are acquired by the patient after they have been admitted to hospital or any other healthcare center, isn't it? Before getting admitted in hospital, those patients do not have any such disease, isn't it? They can get these type of diseases from different sources, isn't it? Like the other patients who are admitted in hospital, the instruments that are used in hospital may be unsterilized, then infected hands when hand sanitization is not carried out properly by hospital staff, by doctor, by nurses, by ward boys, isn't it? Or any other hospital staff who comes in contact with the patient, isn't it? We will see other important factors also which are responsible for hospital acquired infections, isn't it? Now, infections are considered nosocomial, that is hospital acquired, if they first disappear, or sorry, if they first appear 48 hours or more after hospital admission or within 30 days after discharge, isn't it? Both the things are there, isn't it? That you must know. Now, these infections developing in patients after admission to the hospital, isn't it? So, these infections earlier they are not present in the patient, isn't it? And also there is no any incubation period at the time of hospitalization of these infections. Now, these infections may appear during patients stay or after their discharge. So as we have discussed in this first slide, isn't it, that infections are considered nosocomial if they first appear 48 hours, within 48 hours after getting hospitalized, or within 30 days after discharge. Now, same thing is there that they appear when the patient is hospitalized or he gets discharged from the hospital, isn't it? They are also called hospital acquired infections, hospital associated infections, hospital infections simply also can be called. Now, rise in these type of infections is due to these four principal factors. We will speak in detail also, isn't it? So, very first factor is that nowadays there is overcrowding in hospital, isn't it? So, crowded hospital conditions. Then every year you will find that newer microorganisms are coming into light, isn't it? Since from few years, 4 to 5 years, you will see that viruses, they are coming into light, isn't it? H1N1, isn't it? Then bird flu, dengue, isn't it? Nowadays coronavirus, isn't it? So newer microorganisms. Then increasing number of people with compromised immune system, isn't it? So our immune system is also a factor which is responsible for most of the infections, isn't it? Then increasing bacterial infections is another factor. Now we will see the causes of nosocomial infections, isn't it? One is droplet transmission, isn't it? So droplet generated by sneezing, coughing or respiratory tract procedures like bronchoscopy or suction and all that, isn't it? So bronchoscopy or suction, it is carried out when there is excessive cough deposited in bronchial tree, isn't it? So that can be liquefied and it can be removed. And regarding droplet infection, you already know the definition we have discussed, isn't it? So from this present slide you can easily understand the droplet infection. And other is vector transmission, isn't it? So arthropods again play important role in spread of diseases, isn't it? So transmission through the various insects. Most of these insects we have discussed in environment and health chapter, that is the last part, medical entomology, isn't it? Then other invertebrate animals such as mosquitoes and fleas also. So the fleas that feed on rats, isn't it? And mosquitoes, they may be the female Anopheles mosquitoes or Culex, isn't it? The other causes of nosocomial infections are airborne transmission, isn't it? So tiny droplet nuclei that remain surrounded, suspended rather we can say, in air, isn't it? So whatever the droplets, fine droplets, dust particles, foreign particles, they are present in air and they remain suspended in air for longer period of time, isn't it? And they can enter in the body of healthy individuals at the time of inhalation. The other factor is common vehicle transmission, isn't it? So, transmitted indirectly by materials contaminated with infections, isn't it? Now, this slide helps us to study about the important sources of hospital acquired infection, isn't it? So you can see that contaminated hospital area, we can say, isn't it? So whatever the things that are present in hospital, isn't it? They may be instruments, they may be fluids, or any, you can say, things that are used in the hospital, isn't it? Even air, isn't it? Medications, isn't it? Then the patient flora, isn't it? So this slide you can see the various factors, isn't it? Now here one more thing we can take into consideration, that the sources will include whatever the things that are used in the hospital premises, isn't it? Like, say for example, contaminated food, contaminated water, other drinks, isn't it? These may act as a source of infection, and articles or instruments, as I said, which are already present in hospital premises, isn't it? Like linen, whatever the bed sheets are there, bed clothes are there, the furniture is there, isn't it? Then in hospital, sinks, basins, isn't it? Then whatever the doors and windows are there, door handles, these also can act as a source of infection, isn't it? Then hospital dust, air, discharge of patient discharges, I mean, that is the secretions, isn't it? So the person who is suffering from, say for example, respiratory tract infection, isn't it? Or if a person is suffering from tuberculosis, so whatever his discharges will be there, sputum sample and all that, isn't it? So they must be present in his sputum curve, which strictly contains some or the other disinfectant, isn't it? Otherwise, the discharges, secretions of patients also are highly contaminated with microorganisms, isn't it? And they can act the sound, we can say, strong source of infection, isn't it? Now also we must know that these hospital acquired infections, isn't it, are targeting which systems, isn't it? Or what are the common type of infections which can person get affected when he gets admitted in hospital, isn't it? So most of the common nosocomial infections are the infection of urinary tract, isn't it? So urinary system, that may get affected, isn't it? Then there the catheter that is used, isn't it, in most of the patients, that may be acting as a source of infection. Then pneumonia, so we can say that infections of respiratory tract, isn't it? Bloodstream infections, isn't it? So the infections of alimentary tract also can get spread. Then wound infections, some wounds may be there. Then skin infections can get spread from one person to another, isn't it? The viral infections also may get transmitted, isn't it? We can take into consideration that the viral infections also may become nosocomial infections. Now, one more thing we must remember that these hospital acquired infections, they include cross infection, isn't it? As well as auto infection. So these two terms also you must know very well. Cross infection means when infection is from one person to another person, that is called cross infection, isn't it? From one person to another. And auto infection means when infection is from one tissue to another tissue in same patient, in same person. That is called auto infection, isn't it? So auto infection, we can say, like most of the persons have got discharging wounds, isn't it? Severe wounds are there. So in that case, the one you can say tissue may affect another one, isn't it? Then some skin diseases may be there, isn't it? Skin lesions like eczema, psoriasis may be there, bad sores may be there, isn't it? So bad sores are very common in the patients who are admitted in hospital for longer period of time, isn't it? Say for example 1 month, 2 months, isn't it? So due to that they suffer from bad sores. Now also we must know that some common examples of pathogenic microorganisms responsible for nosocomial infections. So here Staphylococcus, there may be Escherichia coli, Clostridium tetani, isn't it? Streptococci, Corynebacterium diphtheria, isn't it? Okay, these are some of the organisms which are responsible for nosocomial infections. Now the next part in this we must know prevention and control. How these hospital uh, acquired infections can be prevented and controlled. So following measures are there which are displayed on the slide, isn't it? So one is administration of antibiotic, isn't it? And therapy to carrier staff, isn't it? So whoever is suffering from infection, so he may strictly take a course of antibiotic treatment, isn't it? So that the pathogenic germs may get destroyed, isn't it? Then proper sterilization and disinfection of inanimate objects, isn't it? So we have seen that in hospital whatever the inanimate objects are there, that is the hygienic measures, regularly cleaning of doors, windows, the door handles, sinks, basins, furniture, flooring, everything, isn't it? So this will help to control the source of infection. Then disinfection of excreta and infected material is necessary, isn't it? So the discharges of patient we are here taking into consideration, isn't it? Which will eradicate the chances of spread of infection through discharges or secretions of patient, isn't it? Then transmission can be controlled by regular washing of hands. So hand sanitization is very important, isn't it? Disinfection of equipments is very important, isn't it? Then whatever our working clothes are there, those must be regularly changed, isn't it? Use of sterile dressings, isn't it? Surgical gloves, use of face mask, isn't it? This also is helpful. It is definitely contributing in controlling nosocomial infections. Then, whatever the whoever the patients are there who are supposed to undergo any operation, isn't it? So prior to operation, that is pre-operative, the disinfection procedure is to be carried out of the patient, isn't it? Then proper investigation of hospital acquired infection and treatment of such cases, isn't it? Now apart from this also we must know some of the important points which are helpful in uh, controlling these type of infections, like isolation of infectious patient, isn't it? Then hygienic measures must be followed strictly by hospital staff including doctors, nurses, isn't it? Then the patients who are admitted in hospital must strictly spit in sputum cup containing some disinfectant, isn't it? Then a sufficient space between the beds of two patients, isn't it, is very important in hospital. Then regularly vacuum cleaning, wet cleaning of the rooms is important in hospital, isn't it? Proper ventilation is important, isn't it? The disposable needles and syringes must be used, isn't it? The staff who is engaged in kitchen must also observe strict hygienic measures, isn't it? The persons who are working in laboratory handling the samples of the patient, isn't it? So they also must observe all precautions to prevent infections. Visitors must be restricted, isn't it? And proper treatment is very important, isn't it? So these are some of the important preventive measures which are helpful in controlling nosocomial infections. Now in preventive measures we have already discussed about the hand sanitization, isn't it? So hand hygiene is the single most effective intervention to reduce cross transmission of nosocomial infection, isn't it? So proper hygienic measures which includes the hand sanitization, isn't it? Simply taking alcoholic preparation and sanitizing by just few drops of sanitizer is not sufficient, isn't it? So this slide helps you in understanding how proper hands sanitization and hygiene is to be followed, isn't it? So here hospital acquired infections are over, and in next lecture we will continue with the next part, that is the disinfection, isn't it? So if you refer textbook, and if you are referring textbook while listening these videos, so that will definitely be again more beneficial for you, isn't it? Try to understand this. Okay, thank you.